When the lights go bright, you'll know he's hitting this way.
Okay.
They run on that Rule 17. I'm assuming it's the same over here.
I was noticing it wasn't gyrating.
It is. Very subtle, but it's so bright you can hardly tell. But it should be gyrating.
Okay.
Yeah, see? It's gyrating.
Okay. Dude, this is awesome. I can't tell you. I've wanted to do this for years.
All right, well, you're finally here. And we're back. Indeed we are. Drayton's currently filming, and we've got the P&W 1501 just about to drag out. This is in Albany, Oregon. So we are in one of the main hubs for the Portland and Western. This is their main yard that's adjacent to the UP main line. Yeah, it's still got an operational oscillating headlight, and still in its SP paint, though a little worse for wear. Units like these are very rare. That's a very old horn. It's probably original. It's 1501, Portland and Western's SD7. Ah, I see they got the manual aircon on. Just a reminder, railroads are private property. No trespassing. Well, yeah, part of the thing with the Portland Western, reason why we're getting these units now is because there's talk that they're actually getting rid of these units by the end of this year. So hopefully someone else picks them up, otherwise they'll most likely be scrapped. So
sorry about the live stream cutting in and cutting out. I'm now on the third-party app. So if you make any super chats, I won't be able to see your contribution on here. You'll just have to let me know how much it was, and appreciate you doing that. Make sure you send me an email, delayinblockproductions@gmail.com. We are live here in Albany, Oregon. I'm here with my friend Henry, who is a local rail fan, helping me out today. He's actually been a big help leading up to this trip for quite a while, actually.
Local rail historian, thank you.
Yes, and he's been here, there, and everywhere all over the world, and probably ever since I was 12 or 13, I've always wanted to come out here, because where else can you see a Southern Pacific SD7 still in original paint?
Still on original SP tracks.
In
SP?
2021.
Exactly.
So we're talking about a locomotive, and I'm pretty sure this one was built in 1952, but I could be wrong. The commenters here could probably speak more to it because they have Google at their fingertips, but we're talking about a locomotive that operated with the steam locomotives. And just the fact that that thing is still in revenue freight service basically 70 years later is just crazy. Like, my grandfather was 12 years old when this locomotive rolled out of LaGrange. So just kind of crazy to think about. But want to give a quick shout out to Caden McMexican for the $2.99 super chat. Thanks so much for supporting the channel, Caden. Really appreciate you. We've got a clear signal for a southbound, and I'm going to assume that that is one of the Amtrak Cascades trains. That's what I'm hoping it is.
Either it'll be that, or most like, well, it could be a few things. It could be a manifest, or it could be the it might even be a southbound intermodal.
Okay, cool.
But we'll see. The southbound intermodals are kind of have a habit of running whenever they want.
Sounds about right.
I like the idea that it could have been built in 1776. Is no doubt it's probably one of the most patriotic locomotives out there.
I like that.
William Flowers says he loves Delay and Block Productions.
Well, thank you, William. I appreciate that, man. Appreciate all of your kind comments that you leave on the channel. Quick shout out there to Tom Morgan for the $5 super chat. Thanks for supporting the channel there, Tom. Appreciate you. Yes, thank you guys. I'm so happy to be here in the Pacific Northwest. In my opinion, you guys have the coolest railroads. Just my 2 cents.
I think we do.
I agree. I really hope it's Amtrak.
It could be. Usually there's an Amtrak that comes around about 8 o'clock in Eugene, so it's probably a late one.
What number series are those Amtrak trains?
I don't really study the Amtrak.
Can't blame you.
They're going to be sweeping around that curve. So you got to block here. I'll just get the equal grand out.
There we go.
Or, what's back here?
Well, with the way the light is, it's almost worth going to the other side. Actually, I might do that.
Go right here, you got
Yeah. I was actually surprised at how big Portland is.
It sprawls, yeah. It's that biggest section is going east, but
Yeah.
you drove through it.
I did not see your super chat there, Jonathan. Thank you for that $10 super chat. Appreciate you supporting the channel. You've supported the channel for almost as long as it's existed. Believe it or not, this is my channel's 10th anniversary.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, that's
What's 10 years? Is that the
2011.
No, as in it's not, because golden is 50.
I don't know.
25 is silver.
So maybe bronze or zinc.
Zinc.
Oh man, I didn't see that. I'm so sorry.
That's all right. I'll stick that up here.
There we go.
I know, was it diamond is 60? So
My zinc year. Man, somebody needs to go in and cut that bush down.
I do sometimes if I'm going real fan and I know there's nothing coming, I will just tear plants.
It's like,
I'll just push them to the side a little bit.
Do
A little shrubbery.
good work for YouTube. No, Justin, I was not 11. I was 14. Thank you very much.
Steel rail is 10 years. I like it.
I like that. That's good.
Does this function have any zoom, or is it just?
Oh my god!
Don't tempt him. He probably would.
Justin, he's from Chattanooga.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, that's funny. Railfan Brett Railfanny says, "I love your videos. Delay in block." Well, thank you. That means a lot. Shout out to Joe Schramm with that super chat. Sounds like we got a
horn north, so
maybe Amtrak.
we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Hashtag, I hope it's a cabbage.
Hashtag veg.
Hashtag vegetables. Eat more veggies. Film more trains. Ah, I'll get something back here.
Someone wants to know if you've seen their horn.
No.
And that was a no. I'm going to take some creative liberties here, and I'm going to just shift this over. And we'll go a little bit more. There we go. Oh, I hope no one got travel sickness. Yes, it would be dark in South Carolina. You guys are, what, 3 hours ahead of us? He says his name is Matt, or Matthew.
Oh yeah, I did see his horn.
Okay, yeah, he did see your horn, Matthew. Yes, we are just enjoying the twilight of a Tuesday evening here with one of the last few remaining Cadillacs, SP Cadillacs. Still in its bloody nose guise, though with some Portland and Western roundels on the side. You can see a headlight in kind of in the middle of shot there. That's the unit. They're switching out the yard here in Albany, Oregon. We currently have a light for southbound on the UP Main, which is the closest track to us. So it's either going to be the southbound Amtrak Cascades, or it will be a southbound Manifest, most likely. I can't tell you the temperature in Portland, but down here in Albany, it's about 80, probably about 80 now. It's starting to cool off. Could have been a transfer. The B&W runs across the UP Main. So these are
Yeah.
I don't know how Drayton's day's been. He can probably tell you that later, but I can tell you he's had a very long drive today. He was in
It's so cool seeing SD7.
Eastern Washington and then drove all the way down here.
Like, with a working gyro light.
Here it comes. Okay, they just dropped off a cut, so they won't come all the way out this time. He's gonna probably come up to the crossing, depending which track he's gonna go into.
You got your phone on you?
Me.
Type in Amtrak train status. There's a live map that'll show you where they're at.
I've got the app.
Okay. That works too.
Although the map is cooler. Let's see, from to Eugene. Yeah, we got the 505 doing Albany in 10 minutes.
Okay.
Which is a cascade.
Cool.
So. Oh, there's a zoom function.
How many we got watching?
You have 83.
Gotcha. I wish that the third-party app would let me upload a thumbnail, but it won't. Oh, wow.
People keep telling you to go to Vancouver, which is a really cool train spot. You know, so when you come back next, we'll have to take you there. You
Yeah.
can sit there for hours.
Well, the good news is Vancouver is not going anywhere.
No, not unless Mount St. Helens has anything to do with it, but you know.
True. True.
Did you see it when you came in? Did you see Hood? We drove right past them both. when we came
Yeah.
in. It's. We apologize for the slight smoke. There's a fire nearby.
I was going to say, like,
It
even...
fills the whole valley. The Willamette Valley is a bit like a bowl when it comes to smoke. You can have a fire in one spot and the whole valley just fills up.
Even in Western Washington, there was this haze.
There's a few fires out that way too. There's quite a few.
That makes sense.
Fortunately, at least it wasn't like last year. We had some pretty devastating fires out here.
Shout out to Ted Zabel, a friend of mine from Michigan. Ted, I hope one of these days we'll get to meet up. Henry here, he and I have been in communication for probably the last 6 months and finally had a chance to meet him. And I know we've spoke on the Book of Faces quite a few times over the last several years. So
My face.
I'm hoping that we'll get to meet up. The internet's pretty amazing. I'd have to say that most of my railfan friends I wouldn't have ever met had it not been for the internet.
We got a northbound.
It's just crazy to me that we're watching an SD7 switch.
It's all right. I'll pinch you if you need it.
It's crazy.
So we got a northbound coming up. Junction City's where I was, so that'll be here soon. actually.
Cool, cool.
That will.
Oh, the signals are back up, so
That'll be Amtrak coming in. Don't know why they went out.
that's kind of weird.
But there's a whole interchange just north of town, so if they're doing stuff up there, that can turn them on. So they would have been on, and the aspect would have been cleared by dispatcher. So it'll come on
Okay.
with whatever is the current setting for the line.
Bumblefett.
Rail historian. Yeah, that's it. This is Oregon State, Beaver State.
When are the E units coming? So I did a live stream and I called
There
it.
are E units out in Idaho. You drove right past
Oh,
them.
that's cool.
One of the short lines owns them.
Well, the live stream that I did, I called it the Norfolk Southern E units.
And there was no E unit.
But what I didn't tell them is that they were SD60E units.
Oh, very clever.
So people were very angry with me, but you know,
very angry.
angry react only. That's funny right there. We almost got 100 people watching. If you're just now tuning in, make sure you hit that like button. Helps out a lot with the YouTube algorithm.
There's 100 people who should be in bed, probably.
Yeah, probably.
But, I mean, when do you get to see this?
Justin says, epic, cruel prank. Yeah, you know. I would love to see some NSE units, some legit ones.
Didn't they just retire their business ones?
Yeah, because they're very stupid. They rebuilt them 10 years ago, and they're basically GP38-2s. They had PTC, air conditioning, literally everything you could ever want, and they sold them off because they're dumb. And then they rebuilt SD60Es because they realized that you can't pull a passenger train with locomotives that have anti-climbers, because when they go around the curves, the anti-climbers will actually hit the vestibules in the coaches. The what do they call it? The diaphragm at the end of the coach.
Oh, of course, because they're
because they're sticking out. So it was destroying the diaphragm. So NS was like, well, we got to do something. So they rebuilt some SD60Es with updated gear ratios so they could run them on the passenger train. Amazing. I guess you could call it a business trip. I guess it's really a vacation.
a scouting trip.
Exactly. Well, if they
Daylight P&W wants to know why you're in Oregon.
Because I love old EMDs.
All the EMDs are the best.
And I wanted to meet my friend Henry, so that's basically why.
It was mainly me, but you know,
yeah. Exactly. Yeah, the Dakota Southern, that would be a really cool one to see.
Ooh, yes, that would be.
Cue the Jeopardy music. For real, I need to somehow tie my railroad into the P&W so we can interchange. We can do an op session on my layout and then finish it at your house.
That's a long transfer.
I know. Fly across the country.
NS equals not smart. Ah, nice one. It's like UP is, the one I've heard for UP is Uncle Pete's or unpopular. One of my favorites for the BNSF is Big New Santa Fe. That's the one I've heard a few times. That's a pretty neat fact. Almost as if they planned it that way. Yeah, Straighten has been commenting how he hasn't done a stream in a while. If you just joined the stream, we have 113 people. Holy smokes, we've gone up a bit in the last minute. So, crash, smash, and explode. Oh, that's a good one. I'm gonna have to remember that. Yeah, so we are Big Nasty Santa Fe. Oh, yeah, fair enough. We are in Albany, Oregon, in the center of the Willamette Valley. At the moment, we're mainly here because of the Portland and Western, whose hub is here. We are just south of the yard, which you can see in front with all the cars currently parked up. That is the Portland and Western yard. The headlight you can see is a Portland and Western SD7, the only one they own. It's a XSP unit, and it's currently switching. This is the night switch crew. Currently at work, and we're here to watch this, as it's probably very likely one of the last Southern Pacific SD7 units still in operation in the United States today, that at least still wearing its original colors. No doubt there might be some others that have been repainted, but this one is still carrying the SP Bloody Nose livery, which I think is probably one of the coolest paint schemes out there. UP equals world domination. Maybe. I would argue that GW is probably more world domination, considering they have short lines all over the world, including recently acquiring the Freightliner group in the United Kingdom, which was one of the big operators there. And we do have horns in the background, so we'll probably have an Amtrak southbound on the UP Main. That's the closest track to us. There's a station behind the yard, so you'll stop there first. I love that unlimited parking. That's a good one. Which is basically what Idaho has been for the past several weeks. Only got a shortcut of cars. That's as far back as it's going to come, but hopefully it came out all the way a little earlier, and it should come out again. You'll get a nice shot for those who are waiting. They replaced the horn with a K3. Well, that's very useful to know. I'm not very, personally, I couldn't tell one from another other than if it's a 3 chime or 5 chime, but it's useful to know. I agree. K3s are one of the best sounding horns out there. And some of the newer 5 chimes are pretty meaty too. They got a nice deep tone to them.
Man,
136
I hope
people
they come
watching.
forward with that cut. Be cool.
Well, it's loads, so maybe not, but we'll see. I think it's building what's going to go down to Eugene later tonight.
Yeah.
But you had horns just north of town, so that'll be Amtrak in the station. No, it doesn't have ditch lights. No, it's just got the original headlight housing and the, I want to say the gyre light, or the oscillating headlight at least, above it. And same on the other side too. But they are not required to have ditch lights due to the fact they're predominantly yard service, and they run at a speed lower than what is required for ditch lights, according to the FRA. Well, you better hurry and get that glass of milk quick. Oh, what do we got here? Got some action coming. Oh, here's a southbound Cascade with an ugly duckling and I believe a Charger on the back. Yep, Amtrak 505. Someone knows their Cascade trains. got your milk. Good on you. Yes, G&W basically took over the entirety of the Siskiyou sub from Eugene all the way down to Weed, California. Quite a long route, and that's a historic route. That's quite an amazing setup they got down there. And yeah, they pretty much own nothing but rebuilt Jeep 38s and SD40s. However, for the Eugene hauler, they do actually own two CSX SD70s, as well as two SD70 M-2s.
So the Talgo sets are getting pretty rare from what I understand.
Well, those are the longer sets that they're keeping. Or I think, yeah, there's like two types of sets. One of which they're getting rid of, and the other they're keeping and then adding to.
Okay.
Yeah, 142 people watching now. Holy smokes.
Pretty amazing. Thanks for tuning in, ladies and gensets, boys and Gevos.
It's so bad, it's good.
It is bad.
You should put that on a card or something.
T-shirt.
Tie.
It's a giant train wreck. A railroad tie. I get it.
It's a little hard to wear though, but okay.
Yeah, that's true. If you haven't done it, make sure you hit that like button. It helps out a lot with the YouTube algorithm. Appreciate you guys tuning in. We are currently here in Albany, Oregon, and we are waiting for the SD7 to come out with another cut. Basically a 70-year-old locomotive.
Basically. Yeah, you missed out one of the, we were going through acronyms for railroads, and CSX, someone came up with crash, smash, and explode.
I love it.
That should be on the shirt. Boom!
CSX is the bomb.
Quite literally. Okay, so they're going to pick up that long cut. So they might roll all the way out here in a sec. Coos Bay line is a pretty marvelous line too. That's probably one of the most windiest lines you can find out here in Oregon, other than the Tillamook branch, but has been operating since 2007. It's pretty much just a walkway at the moment.
Building up there.
The only thing you missed was the Amtrak Cascade 505 heading south. That would have been with an ugly duckling driver unit and a charger unit on the rear. Other than that, we're just waiting for 1501 to charge the air on this cut of cars, and I'm guessing pull it out. Well, you'll be most welcome in Oregon. There's a lot of good train stuff here. That's a pretty average sized bit of lumber. Most of this lumber, I'm guessing, is going to be heading south to Eugene. It's most likely come off the west side branch, which runs up to McMinnville from here in Albany. And this lumber in particular would have come off the Willamina branch, which splits off at Whiteson. So they produce a lot of lumber from the Hampton lumber mill based out there. I would take an old unit. I know quite a few drivers who, obviously it's probably different when you're actually driving these units on the road as an engineer. There's certain things that you probably like over others. But interestingly enough, whenever this unit goes in for its 92-day inspection, they have to bring obviously something else out to switch in the meantime, and they usually use one of the fleet's Jeep 39-2s. And when I've seen that one running, they have to run the Sanders all the time just because they can't get the traction with those four wheels. So having the advantage of six-wheel traction is quite prevalent. smoke's not too bad. You can actually see a little bit of blue sky if you look straight up at least, but hopefully that clears up over the next few days. I think we're going to have a northbound.
What's that? What you thinking there, train wizard?
I'm here. I thought it was this way, but the sounds like it's actually coming from the other side of Albany. So I'm not sure what it is, but there's something over there making noise.
I'm trying to figure out why he's building up air for this cut.
Or he's just sitting there waiting for the conductor to do the walk. Oh, I think you... Oh, your lights haven't changed though. I wonder if it's the Toledo hauler. Because they come on at 8, I believe. I don't think they leave usually until a little later. It's one of those yards where all the cool storage stuff's here, but then sometimes a lot of action happens.
Right. My thing is this thing's going to be gone by the end of the year, most likely, you know.
Well, it's supposed to be gone at the end of last year.
Wow.
All four.
Just cut off there.
But the live stream still has enough light, so we can carry.
Works for me.
Yeah, I don't have work tomorrow. Yes, they still use slugs. Portland Western is actually pretty unique amongst the G&W family. Someone's welcome to correct me, but I think they're the only G&W railroad that actually utilizes slugs. So they have 2 slugs. Both are ex-Norfolk Southern and both originally Norfolk Western units. So they've got 3001 and 3002, both Jeep 40s, as well as 2 mated originally GP18s, 101 and 102. Currently 3001 and 101 are basically in parts, but 3002 and 102 are operating on the Toledo hauler, which is good to see. It was out of service for about a year. 179 people watching. There you go.
Pretty amazing.
Just passed 100 likes.
Awesome.
I want 100 more.
Like, totally. Have you ever seen anybody get hit by a train here at this crossing?
That was probably Toledo hauler just heading out.
Gotcha.
There it is, because when they cross, they have to ask UP permission to cross. So you get this conversation on the scanner.
Brian Benson says, back in 1999-2000, I used to work for the Corp for 5 years on the, how do you pronounce that? Siskiyou line. And the Coos Bay line, pouring down rain in Coos Bay for 12-hour shifts, 6 days a week. Don't miss those days at all.
I love those days. I love working in the rain. I'm one of those weird people.
You like rain?
I like it when it rains. The smell of rain is quite nice. So.
No plans for Vancouver at this time.
The only thing moving at the moment is the oscillating headlight. So technically they are moving, but not the way you would expect it to be. As an airplane reference.
That's a great movie. A great dumb movie. What's your
Just letting you know. We're all
What's-
counting on you.
What's your vector?
Roger.
Roger. I had a guy at this railroad that I did some video work for, and the GM, his name was Roger. So they were actually doing a photo freight for this promo video that I did, and I'd get on the radio and he'd be like, all right, we're going to take the cars back 15 car lengths and come at you. And I'd be like, Roger. It was amazing. He's like, yeah, very funny. Not the first time I heard that.
Surely you can't be serious. I am. Don't call me Shirley.
Cue the Jeopardy music. Greetings from Australia.
Whereabouts in Australia?
I just need one more cut.
Hopefully they give you a nice long one. They wouldn't go into that one unless they were pulling it all out.
Yeah.
Because they have to make room for the Eugene hauler to come in.
Really?
Yeah, so that's probably what they're doing. Because the Eugene hauler, well, lately it's been like 10 cars. So it's been really small in like one locomotive. But sometimes they usually run with 2 UP units and they can have upwards of 100 cars on some days. It takes them like less than an hour to get up here. Then they'll sit in the siding south here for several hours until they make room.
Wow. I tell you what, the gorge was amazing. I really want to go back there.
I guess I could tell you, man. Oh, we say Victoria? Hold on. You're in Melbourne. Nice. I've been to Melbourne a couple times. I actually used to live in Perth for 15 years and did some business trips through to Melbourne. Did some train spotting out by the main yard there, near the tunnel. You'll probably know where that is. It's an excellent little spot. No, this isn't a local. This is, well, I guess you could say it's the local switcher, but it's the switcher for the Portland and Western here in Albany Yard, Oregon, United States, Northern Hemisphere.
Pacific Daylight Time. Oh, that's funny. Well, I visit the Midwest all the time there, William Bates. All the time. I miss some of the trains up there in Ohio and Indiana, and
I'd love to go to Tesla. I've seen that spot. Looks like an amazing spot.
well, you can just sit there, no fence, have a campfire this close to the track. 40 trains a day. It used to be about 60, but because of PSR, it's probably right around 40.
From the Navajo Nation, Arizona.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
Welcome.
Thanks for tuning in there, Sean. Come on. That is a beautiful waterfall. by the way.
Currently working to get hired at the CSX. Well, yeah, I can share that sentiment with you. I'm currently working to get hired here in Oregon, so I know what that's like. So good luck to you, sir. I do hope that you get in. Just work hard, always be on time, always be reliable.
And don't tell anyone you like trains.
That's it. Just keep that a secret for the first 5 years. And make sure you clean your Facebook page or anything, because they do check that stuff. So make sure you clear that out.
So, I don't know if I told you or not, but on the way coming here in Portland, right where 84 splits off,
Yeah, that big junction.
I saw a Tier 4 Ace
Yeah.
leading a train.
Yep. They're very common. I was surprised because they only have 100 of them, or 130 or 100 Tier
They have
4.
that many?
Yeah, they were probably the biggest buyer of them.
Wow.
But regular basis, you'd see them on here.
That's cool.
So, and quite shiny too. I remember when the first one I saw it was very shiny.
Looks like Thunder Turbine 88 left a super chat. Can't see for how much, but thanks for supporting the channel. Really appreciate that.
186 viewers.
Of a locomotive sitting there.
It's the journey that counts.
10 more minutes, man, and then it'll be a little bit too dark for a good shot. I'm waiting for this northbound too.
Yeah, I'm gonna double check because I know it passed Junction City, so it would have had to be it probably pulled over at Shed.
For Amtrak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll double check because I have spies all up and down the line.
200 viewers right now.
200. Holy smokes.
If you haven't done it yet, make sure you hit the subscribe button.
Well, the Tier 4 races may be rare, but like I say, here in the Willamette Valley, you'd see them on a regular basis out here. So I can testify to that. So
it is so nice out. Like it is such a beautiful evening.
it is quite a pleasant evening.
I'll have to go to Australia with you one of these days.
Hey, well, I'll let you know next time I'm going back because I'm planning on doing some filming for another video. You can join us.
That'd be really cool. We can tag team it.
My good friend down there is a volunteer for the steam railway in Western Australia, so we want the video online, that Australian one, that's that line.
Okay.
So we want to go back and do like a bigger version of it.
That's cool. I want to see the GM class before they all go by.
That's all East Coast. You'd be surprised. Those things they still use in mainline service. They keep rebuilding. So this goes to show the reliability of an AMD built like a rock.
Yeah.
Or like a rock, I think is the phrase.
Yeah.
It's actually a nice breeze is coming in off from the coastal ranges, so it's probably about fairly temperate, mild, a nice cool breeze, quite pleasant.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I can sit here in a
Swift
fold-out chair.
Swift is leaving BNSF. I'm assuming that's what you mean. That's an interesting point. Well, if they end up with the UP, my job's going to get a lot busier.
Remind me, I got something for you.
Hit you up when we go to Australia. Oh, we'll have to make a point. So obviously that's probably many a year.
Yeah,
away
it's
from
gonna be a
now,
long
but
time.
Yeah, like I said, having lived in Australia for 15 years, I know there's quite a few of you enthusiasts out there. There's a lot of really neat train history and railroad and railway history. It's railways in Australia. So
That's what it should be everywhere. Personally, I
like railroad. Railroad sounds more like it's got a purpose. Railway seems a little bit more.
I like railway. I don't know.
It's a holdover from the English heritage. They actually had South Australia. A lot of their steam locomotives were built here in the United States because they wanted more power. So their locomotives were quite different compared to other locomotives in Australia, which were all built in England.
Did not know that.
Yep.
She must be walking every car, checking all the air hoses.
Probably. It's big, long cuts, though. Ironically, I actually haven't been to New South Wales. I've been to Victoria. I've been to South Australia and Western Australia. I've been to Sydney, but if anyone who's ever been to Sydney, it's kind of probably the worst place to go and experience Australia.
Yeah.
To be honest. High iron. Yes, that's a good phrase. The high iron. Yeah. Actually, interestingly enough, the iron ore rails that run out in the far northwest of Australia, they have a real high iron. I think the height of their rail is about a foot because of the deal with the heavy iron ore loads that they bring on that line. So they have some serious rail out there. Yeah, it is an older term, I suppose. So.
See how we switched to the other app and it works just fine. I don't know.
I think that's something you should probably remember next time.
Yeah, it's just easier to do it through YouTube. It takes much less time to set it up. Man, 10 more minutes is gonna be too dark.
Yeah, you do. I mean, you'll know the class of that locomotive than I will, but there's a couple of really interesting designs. I mean, particularly it would be the Bayer Garretts. Oh, there you go. I think that's going to be your northbound.
She must be in the block.
So we've got a potential northbound here, which is going to be a freight. I'm going to hazard a guess and say it's a manifest. We have a lot of manifest on this line. We get at least 2 intermodal trains per day on this line. So all going to Brooklyn Yard, although they usually pass through in the mornings. So you'll have a southbound to LA and a northbound to LA, and then sometimes they'll run others. So just depending. I apologize for the tripod angle here. This is rather shocking. There we go. That's a little bit better. No, it doesn't look like we're falling over. Darling Harbor. Are we? Is that? Oh, that's in Sydney. No, I didn't see that one. Although I can say that I got to see the line at Victor Harbor in South Australia. That was actually really, really neat little line. They do look a lot like the SD90 or the Tier 4s are kind of an accumulation of ideas, aren't they? A cab from here, a chassis from there, some body parts from here. No, that's a building security light, if that's what you're referring to. Just excuse Drayton, he's in the shot, so yeah. But we'll forgive him. No, it's a lot later than that. It's actually 10 to 9. So we're another hour ahead than that. But we are probably coming down to the last few shots of the evening. I wonder if that's the Albany hauler. If it is, it's running really early today. So in case you just tuned in and you're wondering what the heck you're looking at, this is Albany, Oregon, west coast of the United States. We are here with the Albany Yard is actually just behind us. We've just turned looking south at the main here because there's a good chance we got a northbound freight about to roll through. We're waiting on the Portland and Western's 1501, currently sitting in the yard. About to pull a cutout. This is an old SD7. Probably one of the last ones in the country still in operation in its original SP bloody nose guise. This is delay in block production, so if you are on the channel and you haven't liked it yet, do like this video. Drayton really appreciates all your likes. It does help him out a lot. Kind of just waiting. Railroad time doesn't run to a watch as such. It kind of runs as it needs to. The camera on this phone is actually picking up a lot more light than what actually. It's actually a little bit darker out here than it actually looks like. But you guys will get a good shot. Drayton, on the other hand, I think is concerned about not getting a good shot. So it's like whenever the railroaders know you're there, they'll just go hide somewhere. No, the signals you're seeing, those are the signals for the UP main. The switcher, they don't use the tracks coming in. They use a far track. So those signals actually have nothing to do with the switcher's movements unless they are pulling something out onto the main, which they rarely do, if ever, to be honest. I've never seen them do it. So they can move freely. They've got a long switch lead that goes off that doesn't connect into the main, so they've got freedom of movement here. They are a shy bunch, aren't they? Yeah, just a kind reminder, you know, don't trespass on the tracks. Trains don't really care about your feelings or your physique. They've got better things to do, so they also can't stop on a dime. So look, listen, and live. Yeah, I probably won't on this track, mainly because the Rex Hill doesn't operate anymore. They haven't used that line probably since 2004, I think. It's been quite a while since they've used the Rex Hill route, the old section of the Newburgh branch. So they still maintain it, but they don't use it purely because of the Rex Hill is such a steep climb and a windy grade. Not in this yard. This yard, the Albany yard, all this traffic is UP traffic. The majority of this traffic actually heads south down to California. This is all the traffic from the Toledo and the West Side branches. Also, there's some traffic that comes from the A&E, the Albany and Eastern, which is based out of Lebanon. So Tigard's yard is mainly all the BNSF traffic, which comes off the Portland and Western's OE Main, which is historically a Burlington Northern and SPNS, and before that, the Oregon Electric. Yeah, you'd be surprised. A lot of people like to cross the tracks here in Oregon. I've seen quite a few, and I know that puts railroaders on edge, particularly going through places like Eugene and Portland, and Salem for that matter. It's quite often over the scanner you'll hear about a strike. Well, that's true. A lot of the trestles do need replacing, but what I mean by maintaining is that they still run track maintainers on the line. I guess just to kind of inspect it, ensure that it hasn't fallen or been vandalized. They do still kind of look after it in a loose sense of the term. But you are right. The trestles are probably the main reason why they don't use that line. It's a lot of big trestles which ultimately need repairing. But having said that, when they first got the line from the SP, they needed to repair trestles anyway. So the trestles were repaired back in the 90s, and since then they've just gone into further disrepair. There is a horn. There is another line on the other side of Albany, which is the OE line. I think there must be something running on there. I've been hearing horns for a little bit on and off. So we might go over and have a look at that, but that'll be after dark, just to see what's going on over there. Usually trains don't run in that line until it's much, much later in the night. I don't know what happened to that train down there, but in case you're wondering, this headlight is still here. Oh yeah, you can really see the smoke in that, can't you? It's a shame I didn't bring out my smoke filter today. That would have been very useful right now. shuffled down the town quite a bit. Well, that's interesting. I'm assuming that you must be talking about the switcher that comes out of the OE yard. Yeah, believe it or not, it's about 9 o'clock at night over here. We'll have to have a look at the OE line and see what's going on over there. There might be some switching action at the other yard.
Gotcha.
I mean, you won't be able to film it, but you can see it.
It's all right.
Still is. Well, sorry, it's the engine down there still is one that used to be owned by the Southern Pacific. So I probably misread your statement. I do that. I passed English on 50%. I was happy. 52. Sorry, it's a bit better than 50.
There you go.
Just above average. Then again, my school was passing people who only did 45, so I don't know what that says about the school.
In and out. It was a winner.
Did you actually stop?
We actually stopped. It was so good.
Nice. I'm glad to hear that.
My wife thinks that Five Guys is better.
Five Guys is too heavy for me.
I don't
In and
like
Out is nice and light.
Yeah.
Five Guys is just a bit too heavy.
Yeah.
Last time I went, I just didn't want to go back.
Five Guys, in my opinion, is not good. They're an overpriced Burger King with better fries. That's how I classify them.
Ah, someone's in Yorkshire. I used to live in Yorkshire. I used to live in Settle, if you know where that is, on the old Settle to Carlisle route. A beautiful place. Absolutely love it. No, this unit is P&W Portland and Westerns, SD7 number 1501. Or at least we could prove it to you if they actually move, but at this point you'll just have to trust us on that.
Yeah, it's basically too dark.
Yeah, I mean, you could get some neat. Where's that light coming from? Oh, no, that's people. We are in Albany, which I guess is, oh no, would you still classify that as a town? It might be a small city. I think it's kind of on the verge of being one or the other. Yes, really, but I don't know what I'm saying really to. Someone got excited. I'd get excited over an old Cadillac.
They're pretty sweet.
You know, no one actually really knows why they're called Cadillacs.
I heard it's just because they ride real nice.
Well, that's the theory, but there's no way to confirm it.
What was that length on that order?
Oh, that's UP.
Thank you.
Wow, that's pretty cool. I've never been over the line. No, I never had a chance, but I definitely have seen Ribblehead Viaduct, and I used to work for a company called DCC Concepts, which you may know if you live in Yorkshire. So I worked for them for about 6 years and helped move the company to Settle, and got to view the Settle in Carlisle many a times while we were not doing our work. We were doing business meetings. That's what it was. You know what's neat in the UK is they have a website you can go to called Real-Time Trains.
Really?
And it shows you a live, you can type in any station and it'll give you the live signal feed of where all the trains are, what the trains are and when they're due and if they're early or late. And so you can tell when the freights are coming through, and they give you the train symbols, which is really handy. So they don't do it on the phone, on the app. They only do it on the browser version, but you just bring up the browser on your phone. You can
Yeah.
read it on there.
Yeah.
That's really useful.
That's cool.
They don't tell you what locos are on there, but you can get an idea of where the freights are mixed
Yeah.
in. So,
It's pretty cool.
bedtime for Randall Ellison. Well, good night, sir.
Someone mentioned CSX Pinoca Yard there in Charlotte, and there's some pretty cool footage that we're going to be releasing from the Ed Painter series that shows Pinoca Yard in like 1988 with a bunch of really cool like ex-Chessie and Western Maryland stuff.
That'd be cool.
So definitely look out for that. Not Western Maryland, Seaboard.
Oh, that's a north. That might be our northbound UP. So, someone was asking what scanner. So I use Uniden. So I've got a Uniden Bearcat, which is the handheld unit, and then I've got another Uniden mounted unit in my vehicle. So the handheld's kind of nice when you buy the track. So I hear a horn. Yep. Okay, we got a northbound UP, it looks like. So we'll just leave the SP to its devices, and we'll see what we see here. Oh my goodness, this is going to be an interesting shot. I'll get out of that nasty digital zoom.
All air switcher, we're here.
Oh, no, you know what? Hey, Drayton. I think this is the Eugene hauler coming through. I think it's the Eugene hauler. They just called the switch crew. So they're asking to come in, I think. Yeah, he's turned his light off. It's an old Native American word. I did not know that. Up. So this train coming in, I believe, is the Portland and Western's Eugene hauler that they run for the UP. It's technically a UP train, but they use Portland and Western crew, and they have done more or less since the inception of the railroad here, of the Portland and Western Pacific. Oh, they did update it. Well, that's very handy. Next time I go back to England, I'll have to remember that. Well, I live here. I live in Oregon. Drayton is visiting for a couple weeks, so I think he's here for like a week and a half more. So he's kind of bouncing around. So the train that we're seeing coming in is the Eugene hauler. It's been really quiet. This train's been really small lately due to the fires in California. They've took out a huge bridge that was on the Shasta sub and basically kind of severed the rail traffic up here. So a lot of traffic's been moving north. So these trains have been small. So it'll be interesting to see what the size of the Eugene hauler is going to be tonight. Eugene horror. Well, there you go. That's a useful fact to know. I did not know that about the word Cadillac. It does have a French ring to it. Yes, the train is running in and doing a sneaky. So the switcher's not going to come out. So he's now going to be dead to rights basically until the hauler comes in and gets out of his way. Yes, it is. The bridge reopened on Saturday or Friday last gone, somewhere around there. So all that traffic is now resuming with a vengeance. Yeah, they still roll a lot of lumber up that line. It's been amazing. Some of they run a train, the 100, which is the Roseburg, well, Winchester Yard hauler, or Eugene hauler, whatever they call it. The train 100. That is a massive train, and they put some big 6-axle units on that. I think it's probably the only. Let me think now. Well, they got 2 CSX units, original SD7Ms, and then 2 SD70M-2s that were originally from the Providence and Worcester before they brought them over here to work on the Corp to haul that train. There were no Siskiyou reroutes. They might have put some stuff up there for the Corp, but all the reroutes for UP went via the Portland sub to Idaho, and then down to Ogden before going over Donner. As Drayton would say, it's a Jevo. Yeah, normally they have two, but there's been a bit of a local shortage due to the rail shutdown, so they just got the one, it looks like. These will all be cars destined for Toledo, McMinnville, and Whiteston. Another Jevo. So in answer to someone else's question, the UP reroutes have been pretty bad. So for traffic that would normally go south, they would take it north to Portland and then east up the gorge. But quite a lot of trains you'd see parked everywhere. There were just cars parked everywhere because there just wasn't enough crews to move the traffic. It's stopping at the gates because the gates haven't gone down. So the gates are that's a closed circuit gates, so they only turn on when the trains come right at it in the yard. So they have to stop just before the gates to come down. Up there.
So, did you say this is the A&E crew?
No. Portland and Western's running the Gene hauler.
So weird to see a solo Jevo. This never happens. There's a prototype to everything.
As you know, I only sing solo. Solo, no one can hear me.
Oh my.
I've got video of a single Jevo, or maybe an AC-44, hauling what I imagine was this train from Eugene up with 90-something cars on it.
Holy cow.
They're powerful.
Yeah, they are.
And it's mostly flat, so they can do it.
I couldn't believe that Bean Sniff local that I shot had 3 mags, and all of them were online. I mean, that was 12,000 horsepower. Actually, that was probably close to 13 or 14.
When I was chasing that 1943 the other day, I had 5 units on the front. And when you think about it, they were all online with 2 in the middle.
Oh my goodness.
You're looking at something like 38,000 horsepower.
It's unreal. Isn't that amazing? Like, the phone is still make out those cars pretty well.
Yep. These are all for all the box cars will be for Toledo. And we've got steel, interestingly. Hey, I've been waiting to tell you this. Make those flight cars.
I know, that'd be really nice.
They are so common.
Huh.
And because the other thing they do is they'll take that car and they'll put great big staves on them, and they carry telephone poles, and they ship telephone poles out of all the parts factories combined.
Now that's cool.
So you'll see them very common, and I'm waiting for some of them.
It looks almost like they're going to pull out with that cut now.
They might do, because they're going to go on the line behind. So
it's so different out here.
we still have 206 people watching, so a lot of hardcore people here.
I need a light bar.
It's not gonna do you. It's just gonna have a spot,
Yeah.
and the railroad crew ain't gonna like it.
Yeah, no. The freaking foamers.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting
Yeah,
going.
that's pretty cool.
I have seen Southern boxcars up here. I've seen Norfolk and Western. I've seen. Hey, I was just saying. Someone saw an MRO car, but I've seen Southern and Norfolk and Western boxcars here.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
We see SP stuff every now and then, but it's
Yep.
not super common.
And all these spine cars are probably going to go to Will Atlanta. They take a lot.
That's cool.
And some will probably go down to A&E too. A&E is pretty much lumber.
Okay.
I don't think that you'll have some grain. There's a few places, particularly between here and Lebanon, that just take like seed and grain. But most of it is lumber. So you'll get log cars. You'll get obviously the processed lumber. It might be particle board. I don't know. There's a huge warehouser plant south on the line to Sweetholme. The big warehouse plant down there. There's a lot of lumber comes out of there. This is actually pretty cool because a lot of these times this guy won't get here until like midnight.
Really?
So the fact that we fly him at 9 o'clock is pretty good.
That's cool. Well, maybe by some miracle, tomorrow the other locomotive will be dead, so they just have to use the SD9 on the rear. Whatever, that would be so cool. Did you see when they used 1501, or was it the other one? On
When they had the ballast strike? 1852 out of the OE yard. I was so annoyed.
Oh, I saw that on Facebook and I just couldn't believe it.
I really would have loved to have seen that.
Like, what happened? Why did they end up using it?
They just needed to haul something out, and then 1852 was there, so they just used that.
Oh my goodness.
So I think it was because it's because of the move they had to make, because they were hauling rails.
Okay.
So for some reason they had to use that. Normally they don't tend to leave the, yeah, here you go.
Okay. Pretty cool.
That's a little different, but that's what I'm talking about. So we're gonna
That's really cool.
but just imagine if that's like
I like the idea.
no one has made it. And yet it's very common TTS. LTTS. I sent an email to you guys, it's probably in your database.
When did you send it?
Oh, a while ago. Earlier this year.
Okay. We probably got it.
Just take some photos while you're here.
I will.
And if you guys want to do a gondola, like a real good gondola, which one is it? Because you know the ones that Exact Rail do?
Yeah.
The big one?
Yep.
There's two versions. One, they do one, and no one does the other one. The one they do is like that. Hopefully there's another version. But it's got the supports on the side are a lot bulkier. It's like a wall or something. So I think these are FMCs or companies. Maybe the other way around. But it's one of those ones you just see all the time because usually these are full of scrap metal.
Right.
This is all going to McMinnville, so there's a lot of scrap metal in these. We had a good shot the other day where we were looking over and you can see it looked like it's pure aluminum.
Huh.
Or some kind of steel. But they take a lot of scrap metal at Cascade Steel Mills. So he's probably at the end of the yard. So you can see what I mean. They're big, so they got to make room to fit them.
That's crazy.
That's good to see because the other day this was only 10 cars long.
Wow.
It shows you how much the business has picked up. Yes, the railroad is very much a stop and go, isn't it?
It's hurry up and wait.
I heard a story from a guy who used to he worked the day that he started working for the railroad for CSX.
Yep.
The day that Conrail was split between the two. And he said that he would show up, he'd get in the train, move a mile or move to the next block, and that was it for 12 hours.
Oh my goodness.
There's such a backlog of traffic.
I believe it. I've heard similar stories. Well.
This isn't necessarily, believe it or not, this has nothing to do with PSR. This is a local move between Eugene and Albany. This is all traffic bound for the Portland and Western. It's going to come into the yard here. Some of it will probably head over to the OE yard, but this is actually a delivery, as it were. Yeah. See that one?
Yep.
Big stage. No one makes that.
Huh.
This one. Yeah, this is the one that exactly. Or maybe it's that one. Yeah, that's the one exactly.
Yeah.
See how this stage comes nasty.
Yep. Yep.
Whole top.
Yep. Yep.
So no one makes that one, but exactly right.
Huh.
No one makes this.
Really?
At least as far as I know, there's like 3 types of centimeters. And this one has the shallow bulkhead. This is the one Atlas makes, which has no little bulkhead.
Yeah.
And then there's the Walton one, which has
Yeah.
that's what everyone knows.
Yeah.
So there's a prototype centimeter that no one makes. The Boxcar is a pretty well covered, but those particular units, no one makes them.
Huh.
Yeah, I see nothing but those short bulkheads. They're so common out here. I'm just laying them out there for you.
I just worked there. I just worked there.
I'm here for the food and the money.
Well, let's watch this guy get into the yard and call it a night, and then we'll probably do another live stream from here later this week.
We can probably do one tomorrow, depending. Well, I've got to head up to Portland, but you can do it.
Yeah.
Or even the following week.
Yeah.
You've got time to figure yourself out.
Yeah. I'm hoping to get at least one other P&W job before I leave.
Yeah, it's getting pretty dark now. Yeah. Yeah. A little bit of slack there. And a broken knuckle. You might want to call it there. He's pretty much in the yard.
Gotcha. Alrighty, folks. Well, thanks for tuning in for the live stream tonight, our first live stream from the Pacific Northwest, and really appreciate y'all tuning in. Thank you guys for the super chats, for supporting the channel. If you made a super chat, make sure you send me an email, delayinblockproductions@gmail.com, and I will send you my next couple of YouTube videos. I've got a couple edited. They're not narrated yet, but that always takes forever. So anyway, but thanks for tuning in, everybody. Have a great night, and look forward to sharing some of this footage with you in the coming months.
And just remember to tip your waiters and waitresses.
Exactly.